All right, there we go. We in there, we in there. Shalom, shalom. In live, Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, Precinct Captain Nata Zak and Shah here. Let's get that up there. There we go. All right. All right. Shalom, shalom. We in there. All right. Here we go. Up. Let's just make sure. Talking about tonight, the Most High's order brings protection. Before we get to the getting on our topic here, does anybody have any questions? Anybody got any questions in the room, online? See if you got any questions. Everybody just sign in. All right, get started. Shalom, shalom. Yahweh Bashim Shah Barakatham. The brothers to the sisters, Yahweh Shemar Alathan. Bashim Yahweh Shah. The Most High's order brings protection. 414. All right, shalom, shalom. There we go. Make sure it can be heard. How am I sounding? All right, we in here, sisters. All right, just make sure you got everybody got the attendance. Good to go. Okay, so the Most High's order carries with it protection. There's a lot of things that are contained in the Bible. There's a lot of things that the Lord wanted His people to have, that the Lord wanted a man to have and wield power, so that he could protect and keep the nation and everything in order. You understand? So let's get into what the Bible is talking about. Let's see if we can move this over. Let's get it a little bit more. Let's see. That should be better. Everybody, let me know y'all hear me, Tawab. All right. Okay, Most High Christ. That's real hot. All right, there we go. We got a lot. Okay, we got a few questions. Joshua, Numbers. Okay, let's start. It's Numbers 32, a precept, Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, the only tribes warring in Joshua. Numbers 32. Numbers 32. Okay, also Matazah Korah, I got a question. Numbers 32, but Numbers 32 and what? All right, good. You hear me to wow. Joshua 1. Take a look at Joshua 1, 12 and 13. And give me whatever scripture, Numbers, the 32nd chapter. And then what do we have here? Joshua 1. All right, let's check it out. Joshua 1. Joshua 1 and 12. I think this was they didn't want to go over to the other side. I believe the brothers had already gotten their inheritance. And they got their inheritance and they didn't want to travel over the Jordan or travel over somewhere because the other side of the land were enemies. And they were already living in the land, if I'm not mistaken. They were already living in their land, and they didn't, necessarily feel like they needed to fight anymore because they already had theirs and they was good. So they decided, or so they thought, that they were going to decide, you know, we just gonna stay over here in our land and we good. We don't need nothing else. And y'all let us know how it work out. They figured that they weren't going to be a part of. That's the jogging my memory. All right, prepare you food. Okay, so let's start at Numbers the 32nd chapter. Let's see. Give me the exact verse in Numbers the 32nd chapter. All right, yes, that's exactly what I thought you were asking about. So in Numbers the 32nd chapter, uh, we are coming into our land. We've been in the wilderness for 40 years. The Lord gave us laws and commandments. He gave us instructions to on what to do. once we got into our land. And now it says in Numbers 32 and 1, now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad today are the children of Reuben are the so-called Seminoles, the Native American Seminole tribes, and the children of Gad are the rest of these so-called North American Indians or Native Americans, as it's called. They don't usually consider the tribe of Reuben or Simeon because the Simeonites never signed any treaties, you understand, to this day. It says the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. They were very wealthy. This is also an important part about portions of our topic. How obeying the Lord, you understand, comes with its own protection, comes with its own provision. You understand? They had lots of cattle. For those of you that don't know, in the United States, cows were not the mainstay diet of Europeans. They didn't have lots and lots of cattle, buffalo, bison. The cowboys were Native Americans. The cowboys were black men. They weren't, oppressors in Wrangler jeans doing the boot scoot boogie down in Missouri and Montana and Oklahoma. Cows they didn't come from the oppressor. It has always been Israelite custom to be farmers, to wrangle cattle, to herd sheep, livestock, amongst many other things that in essence, in itself, make you very wealthy. No one can have a job. I don't care if you're the smartest man on the planet. Building computers will not get you a steak. You understand? Building houses will not get you sirloin, porterhouse, and oxtails. Being a scientist, an engineer, a developer, none of that is going to put food in the mouth of your family. Whoever's raising the cattle is feeding people. If you got rid of everything and all technology and electricity, everyone needs food. So that in itself made our people extremely wealthy. Just so that you can get a backdrop, that's always been our custom. Because of Christianity and integration, we felt that being attached to farming and livestock and things like that were less educated, less sophisticated jobs, because the examples that we were given was to get out of this southern, let's work the land type of lifestyle and let's move up north and get into these cities, which we did for decades. And eventually everything went to hell. All right. But that's Israelite custom. These brothers were very rich. All right. It says the children of Numbers chapter 32 and verse 1. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. They were very rich. And when they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, that behold, the place was that Salakia, that behold, the place was a place for cattle. And so this is the perfect place for cattle. They've got lots and lots of cattle. The children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spake unto Moses. They came and talked to Moses. Moses is the head of the nation. Little things like this may not seem important, but they're coming to talk to Moses because the Lord put Moses in charge. You understand? The Lord put Moses in charge. Okay. So they're coming to talk to Moses and to Eleazar in English, the priest. You understand? Eleazar, the priest, son of Aaron, and unto the princes of the congregation, the princes, the royal house, the family, the higher people in power and authority of the body of the children of Israel. You're going to list their names. We don't need their names. We just need to get that information. Verse 4, after it lists all the brothers' names, even the country which the Most High smote, the Lord wiped out all of the people that lived in this country before the congregation of Israel is a land for cattle, and thy servants have cattle. Said, listen, this is the perfect land for raising cattle, and we all got tons of cattle. Wherefore, said they, if we have found grace in thy sight, if it's okay with you, if you will allow us, which is very important. I don't want you to miss that, because the spirits in the Bible, spirits don't change. The spirit will always say the same things. The spirits will always do the same thing. You understand? Words are spirit. So Just keep that in mind. They're going to them getting permission to settle on this land. Everyone is going into their land inheritance. Every one of the 12 tribes has land that belongs to them. They're getting their inheritance. It just so happened that they're cattle herders, sheep. You understand, they have cattle and they want to stay in the land where they are now, even though the rest of the nation, everyone has not gotten their land. Everybody still with me? Just let me know. All right. So they're saying, wherefore, if we found grace in thy sight, you understand, if you like us, if you will allow us, let this land be given unto thy servants for a possession. He's asking permission. Now, the Lord gave this land to the children of Israel. And this is a very important lesson that we want you, brothers and sisters, to learn. This has nothing to do with you not being able to do things on your own. It has nothing to do with you being weak. It has nothing to do with you being less than a man or less than anything else. You have to learn in life. There are people above you that you must get permission to do things from. There are prisons filled with our people, courts. Me and Officer Mataza Akora had to sit in a court and listen to dozens and dozens of brothers, all of which had no one to get orders and permission from. They had no one above them to give them orders or permissions, just mommy. And because our lives as a people are filled, are void of the men that God put in charge, that you are supposed to go to them to get permission and to get things cleared over the decisions that you will make, what is right, what is wrong, what is something that the Lord will be with you, what is something that the Lord will be against. And your families, your food, you're raising your children, your relationships, and counseling, in all manner of things that pertain to life, you are supposed to go to someone. This notion that everyone is just their own individual and everybody does whatever they know or feel or believe is right, that is a cancer to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I cannot tell you how many dozens of brothers all had an idea about what was the right thing to do and say that landed themselves in jail. Not even trying, just simply just not understanding how things work, just simply being in charge of themselves. The Lord does not want that for you. And it's easy to overlook things like this in the Bible because of the Christian church. And I don't want brothers and sisters to miss this, because this is what it's saying. The Lord gave this land to the children of Israel, but the Lord gave Moses the authority over all of the children of Israel. You understand? Meaning there's someone in charge that even though this belongs to you, you still are supposed to go to who God put in charge to make sure that you don't destroy everything that the Lord has for you. So they went to Moses. Of course, many times they didn't listen to Moses, and many of them ended up losing their lives for it. You understand? But I don't want you to miss this. So they're asking for permission. Wherefore, if we found grace in our sight, let this land be given unto thy servants for possession, and bring us not over Jordan. They didn't want to go over the Jordan River because on the other side of the Jordan River, they got all of this cattle. Now let's find out why. Verse 6. And Moses said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here? On the other side of the Jordan River were enemies. And this is a spirit. This is a spirit that you have to understand. On the other side of the Jordan River are enemies. Enemies that will require a battle. But in their mind, they got what they need. They're going to settle here. They're going to set up shop. You understand? Let us, and Moses is saying, are you going to sit here while your brothers go to war and you just going to set up and make house? Like, you not going with your brothers to go fight in this war on the other side of the Jordan? They didn't want to go on the other side of the Jordan. They were straight where they were. So the fighting force of the nation of the Gadites and the Reubenites In their mind, they was going to stop here and y'all go ahead and handle that. Let us know how that works. That's the spirit of Christianity. And that is an ungodly spirit, to watch your brothers go to war while you sit and just think of yourselves. That's the spirit on the millionaires and billionaires while their people starve to death. That's the spirit on Kanye West while he split all of his money with your oppressor's daughters, the Kardashians, and that Amber Rose thing, and whatever this new thing is he's with now, and all of the brothers that go out and marry oppressors and heathens, leaving sisters with nothing, and all the sisters that go out and marry heathens, leaving brothers with nothing, taking resources away from our people for their own selfish gain, not concerned about the rest of their nation. And Moses' response, while they are asking to stay here, Moses is checking them. Like, what the hell do you mean? You gonna sit here and set up shop and be concerned about your cattle while your brothers is getting ready to go over the war on the other side of this river with their life in danger against the enemies. You understand? So now in Numbers 32 and 7, it says, and how in the hell discourage you, discourage ye the heart of the children of Israel from going over into the land which the Most High have given them. Moses is checking the hell out of them. He said, not only are your brothers getting ready to go to war on the other side of Jordan, who the hell do you think you are to discourage the rest of your people from standing with their brothers while we're in the middle of a goddamn war? You selfish brothers. You understand? So Moses is checking the hell out of the children of Gad and the children of Reuben. This is what's going on. Verse 8. And then he said, thus did your fathers when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. Like your fathers was on some old, on some punk stuff. Your fathers was not trying to be down with their brothers. One was only concerned about themselves getting what they needed. And that is the spirit on the robber. That is the spirit on the drug dealer. That is the spirit on the human trafficker. That's the spirit on the pimp. That's the spirit on the sisters doing OnlyFans and prostituting herself, embarrassing her children, whose buddies and the teachers at school are going to see their moms naked behind all over the damn internet, all on social media, selling her tail for dollars. You understand? While her sons and daughters go to school and get teased beyond belief and have to fight everybody, be nigh unto suicide because of all the hoeing that their mother is doing. Like that evil, selfish spirit was the spirit that these brothers had. And Moses checked them about their spirit because it was evil and it was ungodly. And it was the same spirit that their forefathers had, and he brought that up to their attention. Now he's explaining in verse 9. For when they went up unto the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel. And that's what evil men do. The Lord gives an order from the man that he set up. But these evil men decide to teach men that they don't have to follow the orders. Decide to teach men, like you get an order to do something, and then some old nasty, disgusting, evil spirit say, listen, man, it ain't even all that serious. You ain't got to do that. He said that, you ain't got to do that, man. It ain't even like that. It don't take all of that. You won't have to do that. He said, what? He said you had to be there at this time. You ain't got to be. We don't even have to go for real. We don't have to be there. You don't have, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Well, I ain't going. Well, they said we got to do this. The Lord said we got to do this. The Lord said we all supposed to be there. These are our brothers over there. We brothers and all, but I ain't really trying to do all that. We're gonna stay here. Like freedom of speech is not biblical. Freedom of speech is not godly. You are not allowed to say whatever you want out of your mouth. Not the children, not the men, not the women, not as you're young, not as you're old, not the rich, not the poor. You aren't allowed to have this open-ended freedom of expression and speech that this evil society will give you here in America under our oppressor. This is not a godly thing, it's an evil thing. And the sooner that our people learn what the Spirit of the Lord wants us to do with our so called freedom in this empire, the sooner it will be less of us in prison, less of us in the morgue, less of us in the hospital, and our families and cities will come back together and be strong again. All right. So their fathers did this same evil thing that Moses is bringing up. They discouraged the heart of the children of Israel. Tons of brothers and sisters that came into the truth or that would have come into the truth, where the Lord said all blacks and Hispanics are supposed to come. Many evil brothers seduced brothers and sisters to not come into the truth. Mothers, aunts, wives, sisters, brothers, cousins, nephews, friends, your drinking buddies, your smoking buddies. You understand? They've encouraged or discouraged brothers and sisters from coming to where the Lord called them to be, from doing the work, from coming into the truth, from putting their hands forward to do the work, from following orders, from heeding the call that the Most High put on their life to come into the truth. You understand? Many evil men and women have discouraged brothers and sisters from coming into the truth and even from progressing in the truth, so that eventually they leave or they do absolutely nothing and waste the calling that the Lord put on their life until they end up destroyed. Those evil brothers and sisters, you understand, you have to watch for them. The Black, Hispanic, and Native American community is full of them, is filled with them. Many of them are your relatives. Many of them were your best friends, your closest friends. And their job is to make sure that you don't obey the Most High, that you don't obey the orders of the men that God put in over you, that you don't follow the orders, that you don't check in, that you don't pay your tithes, that you don't pay your camp funds if you're in school, that you just simply don't do any goddamn thing. And in this house, under Commander General Yohana, we make sure to protect the spirits of brothers and sisters. That's why we have these classes, because spirits control everything. And an evil, wicked spirit, the Lord will make sure that they are put from amongst the congregation for the protection of the body, just like a good father would protect the family from an evil son who wants to sell drugs, or an evil daughter who wants to whore herself out, or an evil woman or an evil person that will bring harm to the family. Well, this evil spirit that Christianity or America will call this just their freedom of choice or expression, that freedom does not exist in this nation. And Moses was correcting that evil spirit because it was going to discourage the brothers from standing with their people so that their entire nation could get the inheritance rather than them just being settled because they got money in their bank account, or they got their Rolls Royce or a Bentley, or they can eat steak and all their finest things and be clothed and not be concerned about the status of the rest of their people. You understand? So this evil spirit, which is an excellent question that Officer Matazar Qurra asks, you understand? Now I'm gonna just finish the rest of this. Numbers 32 and 9. It says, when they went up unto the valley of Escol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel that they should not go into the land which the Most High had given them. They told them it don't take all of that. You understand? And this is the spirit. Don't go in there. They ain't there with that all black. They got on them beards and them braids. They believe that a man can have more than one woman. You understand? They in there. They in a cult. And lo and behold, decades later, everybody on the internet is saying exactly what the Lord told the ISUPK to say on the Commander General Yohana that we've been saying since the 60s, since the 70s and the 80s. You understand? Everybody talking about it, from the relationship problems, sisters out of control, brothers fighting each other, taking each other's lives, relationships falling apart, the cities getting gentrified, the damn leaders in them churches is all sodomites and child abusers. All of these things that we warned and been talking about for decades, everybody talking about it all on the news like they came up with it themselves. All the podcasts and radio shows and everybody just popping up left and right. All of a sudden, everybody know the spirit of the Lord. You understand? So now, what it says in verse 10, and the Lord's anger was kindled at the same time, and he sware, saying, like the Lord was furious because you understand they were not going to back their brothers up. They decided that they got theirs and they were just going to sit on the sideline, and whatever happened to them, that's them over there. We good over here, we straight. Like that's an evil spirit. Surely none of the men that came up out of Egypt from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me. You understand? The Lord's anger was against them. That's why we walked around in the wilderness 40 years, because brothers had a spirit of cowardice and selfishness. That's why in the ISUPK, we have no cowards. A coward cannot stay in here. A coward has to get weeded out of here. He can't stay in here. A coward would jeopardize the entire nation. A brother that does not want to follow orders will jeopardize the entire nation. It will stop brothers from being strong so that one day, 3 and 4 years down the line, other weak, suffering brothers and sisters will be able to benefit from the strength that you have cultivated inside of yourself through the Spirit of the Most High from following the orders that have been passed down to you. Well, these brothers threaten that, and that's why everyone spent 40 years in the wilderness, because of the evil spirit that was on them for being a coward. You understand? So now we're going to go to Joshua. Now that we got within Numbers, the 32nd chapter, to see what was going on there. The other half of Officer Matazah Korah's question was in Joshua chapter 1 and verse 12. All right. Now it's time to go and get the rest of the land that the Lord had promised to us. Of course, we walked around the wilderness for 40 years. So that generation, everyone that was 20 and up, all of that generation passed away. Now Moses is gone. Joshua is in charge because Moses put Joshua in charge. Now Joshua's in charge of the nation. And it's time to go and take the rest of the land for our inheritance. So now we're going to start at Joshua chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, then Joshua commanded the officers of the people. Everyone is following Joshua. Joshua is in charge. There are not 20 different leaders. There aren't 20 different groups. There aren't 20 different beliefs, 20 different religions. There isn't all of this Egypt and Muslim and Rasta and praying to crystals and rocks and sage. All of those people and all of those things were unalived in the wilderness. You understand? Sometimes thousands at a time, hundreds at a time. A plague will break out and an angel will unalive 4,000 people. Everyone that decides that they want to do their own thing, they don't want to obey the angel, they don't want to obey Moses, they decide they want to go back to Egypt, the angel unalives 7,500 people on the spot. They decide they want to go and marry the heathen women that are around them, want to go have sex with the Africans and the Ethiopians, 3,000 brothers and sisters unalive on the spot. You understand? Until Moses get ahead of the evil to stop the anger of the Lord from this angel breaking forth. You understand? God's order comes with protection. You understand? So now in verse 11, it says, pass through the host. The host is the armies. Joshua is giving officers of the people orders. Pass through the host, pass through the armies, and command the people, saying, give them orders, not suggestions. Prepare you victuals. Victuals is food. For within 3 days, in 3 days' time, ye shall pass over this Jordan, this river that's in front of us. We going over this river to go in to possess the land. We get ready to invade this land, and we're going to take it, which the Most High your power giveth you to possess it. The Lord already gave it to you, but his people living over there. And the Lord gave them instructions to go and declare war on whoever lives over there and take the land from them, because the Lord already assigned it to someone. He already gave it to the children of Israel. The fact that those people over there are alive and living in the land is irrelevant. That don't mean anything. Just like the lions don't give a damn about hyenas, the bear doesn't care about the fish that it eats, the whales don't care about the seals that they eat, the sharks don't care about the other animals that they eat, and the Chinese who set up businesses in your black community, they don't care what job you work at. The Koreans that open the nail salon, they don't care that you can't find a job in your community. The Arabs that open the chicken spots, and the Elamites and the Pakistanis that open the pizza shops and the sub shops in your black community, they don't care how you eat. They don't care how you pay your bills or your mortgages. They don't give a damn. That's not their concern. Neither is Palestine and Israel. That's not our concern either. Neither is Lebanon. That's not our concern. Neither is Africa. That's not our concern. Ghana and Kenya, they ain't concerned about us, and we not concerned about them. The Lord made everything to care about its kind. And the sooner blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans get rid of this silly, childish, Disney movie, foolish belief that all people and things should all look out for one another, the sooner that our people can join the real world and rebuild ourselves. That's the spirit of the Lord. The Lord gave the armies of Israel orders to evict and wipe out everyone living in our land, not to make marriages with them, not to be their friends, not to marry them, not to let them be employees, not to let them move on reservations or live in the basement, to wipe them out till they don't exist. These were the instructions that the Lord gave. This is the actual God in the Bible versus the God that you've been taught about in church. That you think about old ladies giving you kisses and hugs, singing songs and rocking back and forth with the white usher gloves and the soft carpet and the plush seats with the flowers everywhere. That's not the God of the Bible. That's the God of the LGBTQ community that allows children to be abused and pastors to have sex with other brothers' women until he spreads AIDS throughout his congregation and steals old ladies' houses. That's what's in that church. This is the God of the Bible you're actually learning about. You understand? So now we here learning with Joshua. He's giving them orders. He's saying, God said we get ready to go over this river. And once we do this amphibious assault and cross this river, we going over there and step on everyone. You understand? Verse 12. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh spake Joshua. He talking to them specifically. And we talking to them again. Why? Because he know, as the man that's in charge, some of these tribes are hard-headed. Some of these brothers are selfish. Some of them only care about themselves and what's in it for them. They're not in it for the nation. So he's going to make sure that you get this straight, because Joshua is not playing and we ain't in the wilderness anymore. You're not going to do whatever the hell you want out here. Verse 13. Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Most High, commanded you, saying, the Most High your power have given you rest and have given you this land. You got rest. You got this land. You have your inheritance. Your wives, all your ribs, your lovely sisters. You understand? Your little ones, all your babies, your sons, your daughters, your cattle, all of your cattle, making you rich, your fur, your oxtails, your steak, all of the things that's good and pleasant to work the land. You got power now, shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side of the Jordan. Don't take nothing with you. All of this stuff going to stay over here. But you shall pass before your brethren armed. You going first. All the mighty men of valor, all the head busters, all the steppers, all the hitters, all the shooters. You understand? You going first and help them. You understand? You going first to help them. You're not going to be in the back and decide you're going to change your mind while your brothers go to battle. You're going to be in the front. You're going on the front line. You understand? 15. Until the Most High have given your brethren rest, until your brothers get rest, you stay on the front line. And that is a spirit that is only in the ISUPK. Everyone else has gotten rest in this society. They've gotten comfortable in America. They've gotten comfortable. Everything might not be perfect, but they've gotten comfortable. They've got the Democratic and Republican Party. They've gotten comfortable with voting. They're able to eat enough. They might get some food stamps, not enough, but they might be able to get their food stamps and get their housing vouchers and get a job, get some education. You understand? Get a car, be able to pay off your car note, your rent, get your bills, everything paid up. Might be a lot of them, but you're able to go and, do something, get into a system, get into a rhythm. You understand? Get your bills paid up, put your kids in school. You're comfortable. But we are not comfortable here. And the Spirit of the Lord is to not be comfortable in this place, mainly because it is an evil place and our people are not at rest. You understand? That's why blacks and Hispanics just finish celebrating Thanksgiving because they're comfortable in this society, even though our people are being unallowed to traffic stop. I seen some story, this baby in elementary school in Kansas City, her parents enrolled their black daughter in this predominantly oppressor filled school. And a little oppressor boy, bigger than this sister maybe no more than 10 or 9, 11 years old. This devil breaks this baby's nose and curses at her, commits a hate crime in school, assaults the sister, breaks the sister's nose. The sister is hospitalized. This is a baby. She's beaten, abused, embarrassed, hospitalized, and in danger at a place that she's going to learn. On top of that, she gets a 5-day suspension for getting her nose broken and sent to the hospital for being the victim of a hate crime. You understand? God does not want our people to feel at rest here. And this is the spirit the Lord has been trying to put in us. This is not a place for our rest. The Lord is getting ready to destroy this place. That's why it's so important every Black, Hispanic, and Native American fall in order and get in the ISUPK and get in the ISUPK and get to work. Work on changing yourself. Work on changing your life. Work on obeying and applying the things that we've been taught in these classes to our regular and everyday lives. You understand? And get to work in building up the nation. There's a nation that needs to be built. Little black girls getting their nose broken in all white schools because brothers and sisters have not poured into the ISUPK by the millions so that we have our own school curriculum like the Jewish man does. He believes he's the people of the Bible, even though he's not. And he reaps full benefits from pretending to be a people that he is not, even though God is not with him. Now, God would be with us if we obey him and come in here and serve the Most High. We would have our own. We got our own schools right now. You understand? We in it right now. You understand? But we'd be able to do so much more if we obeyed who God put in charge. That's why I made sure to highlight that when we read it in Numbers, the 32nd chapter, because there is someone the Lord put in charge. And it's important to know that, and it's important to obey who God put in charge. You understand? It's not enough to just keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You must follow the man that God put in charge as well. If we got time, we'll cover that story. If not, you'll also get that in the wars with the Maccabees. When they decided that they didn't need to listen to who God put in charge, they figured they kept the laws their own way and just do their own thing until they went to the wilderness and 3,000 of them got slaughtered at one time. That's when they found out that God wasn't really with them the whole time, but they felt like he was. You understand? That's a spirit that the Lord has been trying to get out of our people every single generation. You understand? So now we're going back to Joshua chapter 1, and he's saying, leave all your stuff. You going forward to fight. Not everybody, not civilians, not the teachers and bookkeepers and shop workers, just the men of war, the strong men, the warriors. You understand? Verse 15, it says, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, as he hath given you, and they also have possessed the land which the Most High your power giveth them. Like your brothers need an inheritance too. It's not just enough that you are doing okay. Being in the truth is not for you, it's for your brother, it's for your people. That's why that personal salvation garbage that the Christian church teaches is so evil, because it's not about you personally. It's about your brothers, your sisters, your people, the future generations of your people. That's the spirit of the Lord. You understand? And that's what the Lord was trying to instill in them since the very beginning of the Bible, since the days of Adam. All right. It says, once your brothers get theirs, then ye shall return unto the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moses, the Most High servant, gave you on this side Jordan towards the sunrise. And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us, we will do. And whithersoever, meaning wherever thou sendest us, we will go. You understand? Just like we listen to Moses, we're going to listen to you. Do you understand? And if there's no one to check an evil spirit that is on you, that evil spirit will be able to just run rampant. You understand? It'll be able to just explode and just go everywhere. And before you know it, nobody will give a damn about what the Lord said. So to Officer Matazai Khan, that is correct. Those two go perfectly as a good find. That's correct. All right. So now that's exactly correct. Officer Yagadar, breakdown on Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 4. All right, Ephesians 6 and 4. Let's get that. Ephesians chapter 6 and 4. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. All right. So it says, and ye fathers, you fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. All right. Bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Provoke not your children to wrath. Okay. Let me scroll up. See, you got some more of the question. It said, okay, you put it in there. All right. Bring not your children. You just want to break down. Okay. So it says, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. All right. It's saying, don't provoke. As a father, do not provoke your children into wrath, something that will make your children angry. You understand? In wrath. Let's get the definition of what wrath is. Let's start there. Let's get the definition of wrath. You understand? It's very important to check the definitions of words. Extremely important. Here in the ISUPK, we're not a church. We don't fellowship. You understand? We don't have Bible studies. We have scripture breakdown classes. We don't have churches. We have schools. The word church that you see in the Bible is bayath saparia in the Hebrew. Means house of study, house of learning, house of knowledge. You understand? That's what bayath saparia means. That's what translates into school, but in English they have it as church. That's what it means. All right. So let's get wrath. The definition of the word wrath. All right. It says the definition of wrath is extreme anger. You understand? Extreme anger. All right. Provoke not your children to extreme anger. Now let's get the definition of the word provoke. It seems like a simple word. Let's get it. Provoke. All right. It says, provoke not your children to wrath. All right. A strong or unwelcome one. It says, provoke, to stimulate or give rise to a reaction or emotion, typically a strong or unwelcome one in someone. To stimulate or incite to do or feel something, especially by arousing anger in them. Deliberately make someone annoyed or angry. All right. So it says here, now that we got the definition of provoke and the definition of wrath, very important to know the definition of the words that are in the Bible. These two are pretty common words. You understand? Just want to make sure that they don't have some other definition before we get there. Let's put those in there. Provoke. And let's get the other one. So it says, provoke not your children to wrath. Don't make them filled with wrath. All right. So now, what is this talking about? What is this talking about? Don't provoke your children to wrath. Very good scripture. Very good question. Provoke not your children to wrath. Meaning, don't do something that will cause your children wrath. I'll give you an example. You understand? To provoke your children to wrath. All right. Let me see. Uh, uh, uh. Right? Something in. Provoke your children to wrath. I'll give you an example. Treating one child better than the other. That's very important. Treating one child better than the other. You understand? You don't want to provoke your children to wrath by treating one child better than the other. You understand? That is something that will provoke your child unto wrath. You understand? That'll make them angry. Something else that will make them angry that you should not do. Don't be a drug addict. Don't do that. Having them seeing their father nodding out on the street, or don't be a drunk. Come home and seeing their fathers naked behind spread out on the floor in a puddle of beer bottles and piss with their drawers damn near out on the floor. You understand? That provoke wrath in your children. Seeing their dad. I'll give you another one. Seeing their dad going back and forth to jail all the damn time. Don't do that. Don't be a damn jailbird because you can never get your stuff together because you're always getting high or you're always getting drunk or you cannot control yourself. You can't control your actions. You don't know how to behave. So someone has to constantly come and tame you and cage you and control you because you cannot control yourself. Those things, whether you know it or not, that does make your children angry. Don't do that. I'll give you another one. Don't spend all of your kids' food money on your gambling addiction. You need to go. I know the gambling is big. It's very big. Very big. Don't spend all your kids' money on your weed addiction, on your lean addiction, on your syrup addiction, or your crack addiction, taking the damn TV out the house to go pawn it, stealing your kids' shoes and your clothes and their toys and their Xbox to go sell it for weed money or Percocet money or opioids money. Don't do that. Don't do that. It makes your kids angry. You understand? Many of the things that happen and the traumas that happen to blacks and Hispanics as children never, never, ever get resolved in our people. Our people carry the same traumas from 5 and 6 and 7 years old, literally from generation to generation. Those old evil ladies sitting on that red table couch that Jada Pinkett is talking about how she's raising her daughters. You understand? Jada Pinkett's grandmother, some old sister filled with all of her abuse and trauma stories, she teaches her daughter, don't let a man's pleasuring you drive you to have deep feelings for this man. So in grandma's hurt, she's going to create a monster. She's going to go and show her little daughter how to pleasure herself. You understand? She's going to teach her little girl, Jada Pinkett, how to pleasure herself properly so that when she goes to be intimate with her husband when she grows up, this is not going to be attached to I'm attached to this man because we're having sex. the way that God intended, so it'd be permanent and she'd be attached to this man. Grandma don't want you to catch feelings because of this orgasm. You understand? So as a result, grandma is going to show you how to have an orgasm herself. By doing so, grandma is going to molest Jada Pinkett so that grandma can show Jada Pinkett how to pleasure herself. And Jada Pinkett later on, she's going to do the same thing to her children. And then she's going to have sex with her son's PlayStation buddy, August Algacina, in the house. You understand? And then her son is going to grow up and get into a LGBT alternative lifestyle relationship because mom put us on drugs when we were young, and grandmama taught mom how to pleasure herself. God knows what mom had to teach them. So then Jada Pinkett does the same to Willow. You understand? And now Willow is also an alternative lifestyle child. And the whole damn family is absolutely messed up. You understand? We have to fight the evil that was done to all of us. In the ISUPK, we are fighting against every single evil thing that has ever happened to any Black, Hispanic, and Native American. We are fighting against all of them all the time. We are fighting against the drug addiction. We're fighting against the child molestation. We're fighting against the alternative lifestyle that they're telling you is a party. But the end of that party, you as a man living in an alternative lifestyle as a woman, your Black or Latino life is going to end at 38 years old, filled with medical problems from the alternative to living, which is what alternative life is. We're fighting against all of that. We're fighting against the preacher. We're fighting against the preacher that stole all your grandmother's money. We're fighting against the uncle that touched everybody when they were little. We're fighting against the cousin that gave you your first Percocet, that put the first blunt to your lips. We're fighting against the friend that you were your friend and she set you up to get sex trafficked. We're fighting against all of it. We're fighting against racism. We're fighting against slavery. We're fighting against poverty. We're fighting against hunger and starvation and abuse and excuses and broken marriages and broken homes and all the governments of our enemies and their drug dealers and their court systems and their prison systems and Planned Parenthood. You understand? We're fighting against everything that is happening to our people. And just like the instructions that the Lord gave to Moses, that the Lord gave to Joshua, we are not going to rest in this evil society until our brothers and sisters get rest too, because that's the spirit of the Lord. And it's very important to understand this. You understand? So, those are things that provoke your children to wrath. Those are very important things. He's saying, fathers, don't provoke your children to wrath. I'll give you another one: beating the hell out of your children. When the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. How many of y'all heard spare the rod, spoil the child? Raise your hand if you heard that scripture before. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Y'all heard that? Y'all let me give me a one. Give me a card if anybody's ever heard that scripture. All right. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. You understand? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Y'all heard that before, right? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Let me know. Just let me know. Spare the rod and spoil the child. All right. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah. This is a very important thing we need Black people to know. You've heard it. Okay, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. All right. It's gotten around. Spare the rod, spoil the child. All right. All right. That's not in the Bible. That's not what it says. That's not what it says. That's not what it says. Yeah. Beating the hell out of your kid with switches and extension cords and twigs and sticks and everything. That is not what the Bible says. That's not what it says. You understand? That's not what it says. Because of the Christian church and the way that our people were taught by the Christian church, by the Catholic church, was beating and branding and torturing and violating. That's how you kill the Indian, save the man. That's how you take black people whose skin is dark because they don't have a soul, and you turn them into good God-fearing Christians and give them Christian names like the oppressor. That's how you take the savage natives and make them Catholics. You take them from natives and you make them Hispanic. You give them culture and dignity. Really, you oppress them and teach them to be you. Teach them to be servient under you. That's you understand we learn from. However, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible does not say spare the rod and spoil the child. It doesn't say that. But the Bible talks a lot about correction, correcting your children. It says lots about correcting your children. In fact, the majority of the Bible that is not the law, statutes, and commandments, the prophecies in the Bible, that's not the works of Christ, that's not the records of our kings and our wars. A good percentage of the Bible is wisdom that a father gives to his sons. Why is that father giving wisdom to his sons? Because his sons will be in charge of his future wives. And what he teaches his wives, they will teach the children. You understand? This whole society is so backwards and is so very confusing that everyone is out of place. Everything is out of place. It can be very difficult to understand and relate to life because nothing is set up properly the way that the Lord said. You get 19 years of learning the exact opposite of what God set up. It is mandatory. That's what they teach you in school. They don't teach what God taught our people, what he wanted blacks, Hispanics to know. All right. So, beating the hell out of your kids, that's not spare the rod, spoil the child. There's a time and a place for correction. But a lot of the things, the reason why it's saying fathers, so that the father can mete out a certain level of justice, that the father, his level of justice and correction is not based on emotion. Most of our people have learned how to correct children from their mothers. You understand? They learn from mothers because mothers have had the power in the black community for the majority of our freedom in America. The first few hundred years, the oppressor was in charge. A few decades after slavery, the man had a brief opportunity to be in charge of the family. Everything flourished. We built black universities, schools, colleges, towns, cities, tons of inventions. We revolutionized the entire planet off of the backs of those generations that invented that. Shortly after that, you got the feminist movement. Then came Planned Parenthood, government assistance, WIC, TANF, welfare, the Women's Freedom Act, the Sexual Liberation Act. You understand? All of those things, that short period of time in which a black man here in America has had the opportunity to really be in authority over his family and the community, the majority of the time, the children were left with the mother because the mother has to wean and raise up a baby. You understand? Then they're going to learn the majority of what they know from their mother. That's why it's so very important that a woman not attach what she believes is God or like God to being a woman. You understand? And that's what Paul was teaching in the New Testament that is so very important and so easy to be overlooked. And that's one of the scriptures that I wanted to, some of the scriptures that I wanted to go into today before y'all came with all these questions. You understand? But no sweat. um, Beating the hell out of your kids because you've had a hard day at work. That's, you understand? Eventually, you may beat the spirit out of your children. Moms do this all the time. Moms do this unknowingly. Not all sisters, not every sister is like this, but it is very common for you to see this because without the ability, and it's so difficult to even try to explain it because it's so offsetting from what's in the Bible, because the father is the disciplinarian. You understand? A man's words can do a lot more, can go much further. If he had the authority, his word would go much further than needing someone to always physically correct you. You understand? The Lord put that into it's natural. You understand? It's spiritual. That's how the Lord set life up. You understand? But because of the Christian church and because of America, the majority of our homes all throughout the Black and Hispanic community don't have that father in charge the way that the Lord set up. In those cases, that is why the widow, the infant, and the fatherless, they are all to fall under the priest, which is the ISUPK, so that they can still get the benefit of that help and that correction and guidance for those sons and daughters that they may be raising by themselves. That's why they're supposed to be in here. You understand? Especially if you think moving them out of the Black community to send them to the oppressors community where the schools might be better, but there's some little Duggar waiting to break Shamika's nose because she's the brown thing in his white school. Just like George Zimmerman was looking for Trayvon Martin. This is a spiritual thing. And you may mean well, but if you don't know better about what's going on in the real world with your people, you will send your daughter to the Wolf Academy, which is what happened there. You understand? Just like you seen the video with the young sister doing the gymnastics, and she's in Ireland somewhere, and there's 10 little, little Karenettes on the right, and 10 little Beths on the left, and everyone gets a thing put on their neck, and then they get to Shamika, and they skip over Shamika, and everyone else gets an award, and the little black girl is just looking like, damn, I did flips too. I did gymnastics too. You understand? And this thing keeps happening because the Lord wants our people to gather together. You understand? That's what all this about. But yes, don't provoke your child to wrath. Don't do that. Don't be the drug addict, crack smoking, dope dealing, jailbird father. Don't be him. Don't do that. Don't do that. It makes the child furious. You understand? That's why so many young brothers and sisters are furious because there's a part of them that they are supposed to have. They're supposed to have it. Just like you got a right arm and a left arm. You got an eye here and an eye there. You got an ear over here and ear over here. You understand? It's a part of you and who you are. The Bible says so much about father, ask your father, ask your father. The wisdom of a father passing down to his sons, like establishing the houses. There's a piece of them that has been taken away from them. You understand? And it's very hurtful. And it takes most of our people never get over it. That's why it's important here in the ISUPK. We are fighting to fix Black, Hispanic, and Native American families the way that God said. You understand? But those things destroy brothers and sisters. Little girls need their daddies. They need their daddies not, drunk, not in and out of jail, not selling dope out the houses. They need them. Don't provoke them to wrath. Don't do that. You understand? They also need to not get the hell beat out of them because you have an uncontrollable temper every time you take a drink, or you have an uncontrollable drug habit and you abuse the hell out of your sons and daughters because you feel that's what being a man is. You understand? You beat the hell out of them until they go out in the world and become a violent animal to everyone else, provoking them to wrath. You are not allowed to just beat the hell out of your wives and children or your other brothers and sisters just because you have the power to do so. You aren't allowed to be what's known as a striker in the Bible. The scriptures say, lay hold on no man suddenly. You aren't allowed to just be around hitting and beating people up just because you feel like that. You're not allowed to do that. That's against God. God doesn't know your heart, and you're not a good guy deep down inside, whatever the hell that means. You aren't allowed to do that. Just like you aren't allowed to be a drunk, you aren't allowed to be a drug addict, you aren't allowed to have sex with sisters and throw them away, you aren't allowed to be a witch, which is a drug dealer. There are rules and orders that the Most High has in the Bible, and this is to protect the entire family of our people. You understand? So just let okay, you got it. Most High in Christ, Yagada. All right. Let's see. What's next? Sister Raha, I believe. Sister Raha said Philippians 2 and 1 through 11. Was this a song from Paul or directive? Let's take a look. Philippians 2 and 1 through 11. Let's get it. Philippians 2 and 1. Let's take a look. Philippians 2 and 1. A Shalom. All right. Show y'all sign in for attendance. Let's get it there. Philippians 2 and 1. But we'll be just a moment. Let's see. All right. Okay. Philippians 2 and 11. 2 and 1 through 11. Okay. Let's take a look. Second chapter. Okay. If there be, let's see. It's a whole 7. Let me take a look and see what's going on in the first chapter. Bear with me just a moment. The same conflict which you saw in me, and how now here be to be given behalf not only to believe on him, but also suffer for his sakes. Let's see, Philippians 2 and 1. Paul and Timotheus. So this is Paul and Timothy. This is Philippians 1 and 1. Paul and Timothy, the servants of Yahushua Mashiach, which is Jesus Christ in the Hebrew, to all the saints, these are all the Israelites in Christ, the ones that serve Christ, the brothers and sisters in the truth, which are in Philippi with the bishops, you understand, the ranking officers, the bishops and the deacons, those are the ranking officers, the top military leaders above these schools. Grace and peace be unto you from the Most High, our Father, and from Hamashiach Yahushua, always in prayer, fellowship with you in the gospel. Okay. So now we got Philippians 2. Let's take a look at 2 and 1 now. All right. So Philippians 2 and 1 says, if there be therefore any consolation in Christ, any comfort of love, any comfort of keeping the commandments, any consolation of Christ, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels of mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded. If you have comfort in this work of serving the Most High in the brotherhood, fulfill my joy. Make me joyful and have the same mind, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. That will bring him great joy. Mind you, he's writing letters from prison. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. Don't let things be done just for beef, just for beefing with brothers, and so that you can get yourself a name through vain glory. It's about yourself rather than doing what the Most High says, rather than doing what's best for the nation. You're getting your own vain glory. Don't do anything for those reasons, but in lowliness of mind, in meekness, and in humility, let each esteem other better than themselves. Let you esteem your brothers. You understand? Your brothers in the work better than yourself. Don't look at yourself as so great and so mighty and do things for your own vain glory. What pleases you. If you find you're doing too much, if you're in the truth and too much of what you're doing is just about what pleases you, start to examine. You understand? If you're actually in the truth. The scriptures say, examine thyself, see if ye be of the faith. You understand? Let not every man, so like it, look not every man on his own things. Don't just sit and listen to your problems and what you got going on in my life and my bills, my kids, and this stuff. Don't come into the truth and just sit in your own problems and issues. That's not what the truth is for. You understand? The truth is for you to come into the truth so that you can find how to relieve your brother's issues. That's how your issues get fixed because your brother is concerned about relieving your issues. That's the spirit of the Most High. That's the spirit that we were just reading about, same in the book of Numbers, thousands of years prior, that Moses was trying to teach the children of Gad and Reuben, that Joshua was instilling into the tribe of Manasseh, Gad, and Reuben a whole generation later. You understand? Let this mind be in you. Have the same mindset in you that you are more concerned with your brothers than you are with yourself. That you are not concerned with your own vain glory. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ. This was his mind. They were coming to unalive Christ. They were going to crucify him on the cross, beaten, whipped, dragged a 9-foot wooden cross. I don't know if y'all have ever held or carried any wood before, but small pieces of wood are very heavy, let alone a 9-foot wooden cross that he had to drag up a hill with a whipped, bleeding back and a crown of thorns on top of his head. You ever pricked your finger trying to grab a rose or some flower or some sticker bush that's got a thorn? You prick your finger, you be squeezing your finger probably for the next 45 minutes or so in so much pain. Well, they took a crown of thorns they made and sew and braid together a bunch of thorns and bramble that they can get so that they can put it on top of his head as a crown to mock him for being the king of Israel. You understand that the Lord called him to be the king. You understand? Because the religious leaders petitioned and begged the Romans to crucify him because they were about vainglory. They were about making sure that themselves were fine and they didn't care about what happened to the rest of the people. That when Christ came on the scene, he was healing the sick, raising the dead, feeding the hungry. He took care of the people, that it was their responsibility. And because of it, they despised him for it to the point where they plotted at every turn to justify unaliving Christ. Ultimately, they had to go to the Romans when the Romans just, unalive people because that's what they do. You understand? That spirit is what Moses was battling in the book of Numbers. That's what the Lord was coming up against in the book of, and you understand, when we were in the wilderness for 40 years. That same spirit on those brothers that died, that lost their lives and their families' lives and all their possessions, coming up against Moses in Numbers, the 12th chapter, that spirit came back again into the earth, generation after generation. Now it's back here again. Same Creflo, T.D. Jakes, Martin Luther King, that same spirit. The spirits come back reincarnated generation after generation. So this is Paul saying in the book of Philippians, the 2nd chapter, let this same mind that Christ had, they were going to crucify Christ. Christ's concern was, Lord, take care of my disciples. I was able to take care of them when I was here, but I'm getting ready to leave. And they're going to be without me in the world. I want you to watch over them because I'm going to be gone. They get ready to take me away. Make these brothers strong. Make them one like you and I are one. Like he was more concerned with his brothers than he was with the fact that they were coming to take his life. You understand? So they thought he gave them his life. You understand? Because that's what the mission was. So he said, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ. Verse 6, who being in the form of power, thought it not robbery to be equal with power. You understand? The Most High gave him power and authority to heal the sick and raise the dead. You understand? He gave him that authority. Verse 7, but made himself of no reputation. He made himself of no reputation. He was born to a mother and father under strange circumstances. His father got his mother pregnant before he was supposed to. They didn't have a formal ceremony where Mary's father officially gave Joseph Mary to marry and have sex with. She was already pregnant. You understand? He wasn't, living in a palace like a king. He was living in the gutter of Nazareth. His father was a carpenter, carpentry working with wood. This is a working man that is doing hard, laborious work with his hands. That's what carpentry is. He didn't have a reputation for being a king and having, all of this power and authority. His reputation was that's Mary's boy. That's Mary's boy. That's Joseph's boy. He ain't no king, and the Lord ain't chose him. That's why he couldn't do miracles in the city where he was from. He didn't do miracles there because he didn't mean anything to them. But once he left, they were able to see him for who the Most High made him. So he made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant. He was low, he was meek, he served, he took care of brothers and sisters. You understand? He healed and dealt with their problems. He healed them. He taught them. He corrected them. He washed them. That's what his servant does. That's what coming into the truth is. And was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion of a man, he humbled himself just like a man. Although the spirit that the Most High gave to him was a very important spirit. For those of you that don't know, the first man that the Most High gave the truth to was Adam. That is the breath of life that the Lord breathed into Adam's nostrils to bring him up from the dust, from a lowered state without instruction. The Lord gave him power and authority to set the world in order. That is the knowledge of the truth and the knowledge of the Most High, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. Christ was Adam in a previous incarnation. After that, he was again, his spirit was born into the earth as Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the high priest of Salem that Abraham paid tithes to after the first slaughter of the kings, I believe in the valley of Gomorrah. You understand, early on in the book of Genesis. Then the next incarnation that he had, he was King Solomon, which was King David's son. King Solomon was the wisest man that ever lived until Christ's last incarnation, where he was Yahushua, the Messiah, and the Lord gave him, you understand, that spirit beyond measure with power and authority to accomplish this great task. You understand, of being crucified for this nation and bringing our 12 tribes back together, raising up these disciples to bring the spirit of the Lord back to our nation again so that we can return to him. So this is what it's talking about here. All right. And he humbled himself, even though he did not want to be unalived or crucified on the cross. That's why he was praying. He was saying, if it be another way, let this cup pass from me, because he didn't want what was about to happen, which he knew, and became obedient unto death. Even though the mission was for him to be crucified, he obeyed that mission, even the death of the cross, which is an extra type of, you understand, torture and capital punishment by the state, where you suffocate trying to hold your body up straight, where they put nails in his hand. They put nails in his hands to nail him to the wood. And they put nails in his feet so that he stuck on the cross. And if you don't, the only way for you to breathe is to keep and hold your body up straight as the nails are digging all the way through your hand. You have to hold yourself up to breathe. If you let yourself down, the weight of your body is going to suffocate you. So he died a languishing, you understand, anguish filled, excruciating, humiliating, unaliving on that cross. After being mocked, after being spit on, after being given vinegar to drink, after being stabbed in his side, having his back whipped with lashes, with a Roman cat of nine tails. You don't know what that is? Go and look up what a cat of nine tails is about. Go and look up that whip and see what that is. Crown of thorns on his head, and the same people that he had been healing, that he took care of, that he fed them, those same people were in the crowd under the authority of the religious leaders, of the Sadducees and Pharisees, your Christian preachers, and all your mayors and big head religious Negroes, your Al Sharptons and Jesse Jacksons and T.D. Jakes and your Creflo Dollars and Martin Luther Kings. All of those same people were the ones that told the Romans to crucify him and told the people to shout, crucify him, which is a vote. They told them to vote to unalive Christ, just like you vote for American Idol or senators go out and vote for a president or a mayor. You understand? So this is what Paul is talking about in the book of Philippians. You understand? And he gave his life up on that cross. In verse 9, wherefore the Most High also have highly exalted him and given him a name, a reputation, which is above every name. You understand? It's above every name. And that the name of Yahushua, and at the name of Yahushua, every knee shall bow, should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. Everything is going to bow to Christ. Every tongue should confess that Yahushua Mashiach, he is the power. He is Lord, to the glory of the Most High Father. So this is what the scripture is talking about here. That's the breakdown. But this is, I think your question was this a song? You understand? Christians turn everything into a song, but it says, was this a song from Paul or a directive? No. Paul is he's first of all, he's writing a letter from jail. All of these are the schools that he set up when he traveled throughout the Middle East and throughout Asia Minor, throughout Europe. He set up schools all over. And he's writing letters to these schools. That's Colossia, Ephesia, Galatia, Pontus. You understand all of these places. Thessalonica, all of these places. Those are the books in the New Testament. So he's writing a letter to the brothers and sisters in the school, but it's addressed to the men that are in charge of the school. And he's just writing them a letter. This isn't a song, even though Christians take and make things from the Bible into a song. But this is not a song that he's writing. This is a letter he writing from jail. All right. So let me know that answer your question. All right, where we at? 8:32. Okay. Yeah, sis, just let me know that answer your question because I got to move on here. All right. So Galatia. All right. Okay. Is that it? Anything else? Okay. So now we're going to go to Exodus chapter. Just want to reiterate this. Let's go to Exodus. I think it's chapter 4. It should be chapter 4 and verse 20. Moses, Salakia, instead of God. Exodus chapter 4 and verse Uh, I'm gonna start 10. So we're gonna start in Exodus chapter 4 and verse 10. All right, bear with me just a moment. Open. Okay. Here we go. Before we go to Exodus chapter 4 and verse 10, we want to get to Hebrews. There we go. That's it. Hebrews chapter 4. So like Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16. We're going to start there. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16. And it says, but to do good and communicate. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. Don't forget to communicate. Very important to communicate. That's one of the most difficult things to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to communicate. Okay, let's see. Christian church used to say it was a song, so I was wondering why to say, yeah, God. Christians just take anything in the Bible as an excuse to make songs out of them. There's a book called The Songs of Solomon, where him and his wives are making poetry and love songs together, like duets. She sing a line, he sing a line, his wives sing a line back. You understand? Just like you see in R&B and lots of black music and bachata and all kind of love and music like that. That's always been Israelite culture. That's always been Israelite culture. That's in the Bible. But Christians try to sing about loving God and Jesus like a relationship. You understand? Like they in some romantic relationship with God and Jesus. You understand? Some sodomite preacher said that Jesus was his favorite stripper. You understand? He said that's his favorite stripper of all times is Jesus. You understand? Like a pastor said this in a church service packed with people clapping and singing and waving their hands. You understand? All of the simple sisters in there supporting him, thinking that he is a man of God. He is a flaming sodomite, a flaming alternative lifestyle. But again, because they believe that that's the spirit of God, they will empower him up until the point that he puts on a dress and says, I want to now be in charge of the women's group too. And then next thing you know, there's a man pretending to be a woman in charge of the women's events, and then a man that's secretly being with women and men also in charge of everything else. And women don't get anything. You understand? If you don't believe me, you go and look up the sports, see about all the female athletes are complaining because it's some man in a push-up bra with testosterone and big man hands and big man shoulders that's a foot bigger than all the girls. He's wrestling more than them. He's breaking their jaws. He's elbowing them. He's dunking on them. He's getting all the rebounds. He's running faster than them. He outswimming them, and they can't win any female competitions because the Christian church has empowered this alternative lifestyle by not obeying the man that God put in charge, which is what we're getting ready to get into. All of this was very preventable. But instead of getting in the ISUPK, where God commanded our people to go, our sisters went to church. Grandma went to church. They didn't have men with beards and boots and braids. They didn't have men that talked and spoke so blatant and spoke so rough like the disciples spoke. They had men with smooth words that made you feel nice and tingly and warm and nice and smooth talk. You understand? While they conned you out of your money, while they abused your children, while they destroyed your marriages, they robbed the communities blind, and eventually they left the church in debt, took the money, ran for mayor, moved to Atlanta, God knows whatever else they did, but it didn't fix the black Hispanic, and Native American community like they were supposed to if they had been men that God sent. So now, what it's talking about in Hebrews chapter 13 and 16, it says, but to do good and to communicate, forget not. Communication, very important. You must communicate. That's why we have weekly check-ins. That's why we have numbers. That's why you call. That's why you sign in for attendance. That's why the Lord set up high holy days. That's why we have counsel in the school. That's why we have an order and a chain of command. Communicate. Communicate emergencies. What happened? All of these things are important because the Lord has a spirit. Communication. You're passing things up a chain of command. There's a place you can go to get counseling. There's a place you can go to get the spirit of the Lord and get counseling from the Most High that can change your life. That'll be the difference between you sitting in a courtroom telling the judge, I'm really just a good guy. I'm just trying to get my stuff together. I'm not really a bad person. And the amount of brothers, I can't stop mentioning this. Officer Mataza Quran and I, we sat in this courtroom, and the amount of black men that got before the judge talking about, I'm a good guy, I'm a good guy, I'm just trying to get it together. And my mom is there, she can tell you, and I'm just trying to get it together. And the amount of irresponsibility, you understand, that comes from things being out of order the way that the Lord had intended to. I'm going to try to get as much of it as I can. All right. In these last few moments. All right. But the Lord said, communicate. Communication is very important. For with such sacrifices, it's sacrifice to make a phone call, to follow the orders and communicate. The Most High is well pleased. This pleases the Most High. And all of us should be working to please the Most High. All right. Obey them that have rule over you. This is that order, that chain of command. There's a man that rules over you, that have rule over you. You're not equal with this man. That's why it says them that rule over you. Someone who has power and authority that comes from the Lord, not because he gave it to himself, but because God gave him authority for a reason. God gave him an ability to see things you can't see, to hear things you cannot hear, to understand things that you cannot understand. And that is what coming into the truth is. You yield your whatever you want and think. You understand? So that you can get the benefit of obeying God. How do you obey the Most High? We're going to get it right here in the scriptures. Obey them that have rule over you. We have in the school a chain of command. Chain of command is very important. Chain of command is based on who the Lord puts in charge. It's not based on who's there because they paid their way. It's not based on who sings the best, who dances the best, or whatever silly nonsense, who got the most votes. None of that silly Christian, understand, democratic uh, way of doing things. You understand? The Lord appoints men in here. That's the only way. Obey them that have rule over you and submit yourselves. Do what they say, not what you want, not what you feel. Submit yourselves to them. You understand? For they watch for your souls, something you do not have the ability to do. They're going to tell you, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. They watch for your souls, and they must give an account. They're responsible for you. You submit yourselves to them because they have to give an account for what is going on with you. Otherwise, you'll be in the world and nobody knows what's going on with you. You'll grow up and you'll believe that you can make excuses until these excuses get before a police officer or get before a judge. You understand? Or get before something with serious consequences that mommy and excuses and I forgot and just give me 20 more minutes. Damn, I meant to do it. You can't be like that in here. We're going to get that spirit out of you. You can't be like that in here. You can't say, yes, I will, and then don't do it. You will be held accountable. You understand? And that's an important life lesson. Most of the Bible is wisdom that a father is instilling into his sons. Pharaoh didn't want to take the lives of the women in Egypt that were Hebrews. He wanted the women so that they can run his empire and make him rich. You understand? He wanted to get rid of the men so that they could never rise up and take their resources, which are the women and children, away from Egypt, making Egypt poor. You understand? That's why when the Lord took the families of the children of Israel from Egypt, Egypt collapsed. You understand? And it says they must give an account. Someone is giving a report on what you are doing. That's why you submit to them. That's why you follow the orders that they give, that they may do it with joy, that they don't have to report to a general or a captain. Oh, this brother still ain't following orders. He still ain't doing it. I don't know what this sister's doing. I told the sister that she should not do this. Said, sister, you need to move. You cannot stay there. You cannot stay there. This is the counsel from the Lord. If you choose to stay there, it's not going to go well with you. The Lord is saying you must move. The Lord is saying you cannot do this. You understand? You can't do it. All right, you go ahead and do it again, but the Lord is not going to be with you. I'm telling you, because they give an account and they may do it with joy. I told the sister listened. And because she listened, you understand, she did not go with them. She avoided that turn. It was a whole big incident. 3-4 people got shot. That sister was not there because she got the counsel from the Lord and she obeyed it. So now, rather than reporting something terrible happened to a sister, I can report the sister obeyed. This is what happened. The sister was spared. The brother obeyed. This is what happened. The brother was spared. You understand? Like they can give a good report rather with joy and not with grief. You understand? Because if you make a man over you give a report with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. That's bad for you. Because eventually, if you don't obey them that have rule over you, the Lord is going to take their protection from around you. And then you'll be on your own. And then the Lord will put you out. It's like any good father, for the sake of relieving his family or sparing his family, just like we mentioned earlier in the class, the Lord will remove that element from the family so that the family can stay safe and be strong and solidified. Like General Hyman says all the time, we are stronger by subtraction in many cases. You understand? Subtraction makes us stronger in many cases. That's not something I made up. This is something he made up that comes from the Most High. You understand? So that everyone remembers they have to maintain themselves. There's an order, there are rules, so that if Satan comes to tell you that you don't have to follow the order and the rules, then you understand that this is evil. This is from Satan. Just like Moses was teaching the children of Reuben and Gad, you trying to rest while your brothers have to war, you're an evil bastard. And you should feel like an evil bastard and know that the Lord will be against you for your evil, so that you can catch your spirit and correct yourself so that the evil doesn't sit on you. Right now, evil is sitting on our people in our communities, which we are fighting to get off of our people and our families by teaching brothers and sisters to come back and obey the Most High, just like you all are learning right now in these classes. So now we're going to go to Exodus chapter 4 and verse 10. We're going to go to 4 and 10. All right. It says, this is the Most High has given Moses instructions so that the Lord can use Moses to deliver the children of Israel. The Lord is not using and talking to everyone to deliver the children of Israel. The Lord is going to talk to Moses and give Moses instructions. Everyone had better obey Moses or they were going to be unalived by the Most High. That's how it works. It says in Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. And the Most High said unto Salakia, and Moses said unto the Most High, O my power, I am not eloquent. I'm not a good speaker. Neither heretofore. Neither am I. I'm not going to be good at this, because the Lord has given Moses instructions on speaking. Nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant. I wasn't good before. I'm not good now. I still am not good at talking, Lord. This is what the Lord is saying to Moses. But I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Moses might have had a speech impediment. You understand? He talked slow. He talked a certain way. If you heard him speak, you may be led to believe that this brother is an unintelligent man because of his manner of speaking. This is the same thing that they thought about the disciples, that they were uneducated because of the way that they spoke. The same thing that they thought about the ISUPK until they found out that the decades of what Commander General Yohana has been teaching and telling, that this is actually what you are seeing happening right now every day on your news. But the whole time they thought we were just, you know, uneducated. Y'all need to get a job and get this and get off the street and all of this kind of nonsense. Now they see that it was actually sent from the Lord. You understand? So we're going to get Exodus chapter 11. Then we're going to read chapter 4 and 11. And the Most High said unto him, who made man's mouth? Like the Lord got to correct Moses. He said, who made that mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or the deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, the Most High? He's saying, I made all of these things. I make the mouth, the deaf, the blind, the ones that can see. The Lord decides all of that. The Lord makes these things. Verse 12. Now, therefore, go. Just go do what I said. Just follow the orders that I gave, and I will be with thy mouth. Meaning, if you follow and obey what I'm saying, I'm going to be with your mouth. Meaning, what you say, because you repeat what I tell you, I will be with you and teach thee what thou shalt say. I'm going to teach you what to say. This is what the Lord is explaining to Moses. Verse 13. And he said, O my power, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. He said, please, Lord, whoever you're going to send them. You understand? And the Lord did not like this, because the Lord is telling Moses, I'm going to send you. And Moses is saying, I'm with you 100%. Just whoever you're going to send, just let me know. I know they're going to do a wonderful job. The Lord was mad. And the anger of the Most High was kindled against Moses. Mind you, the people that's going to benefit from this freedom, they don't know a damn thing about this conversation that the Lord is talking to Moses. The people that's going to get their freedom, that's going to get the land and the cattle and their own identity and get from underneath of all of this oppression and learn that they're Israelites and what this means and have a nation unto themselves and go and get the land of milk and honey. They're not here getting these sleepless nights and all of this pain and getting these instructions from the Most High. They somewhere living their lives oblivious to these orders that the Lord is passing down. You understand? They in the world somewhere. The Lord bringing Moses into the truth and giving him work to do. Because that's what being in the truth is. Being in the truth, you a brother in the truth. You got work to do. You understand? The Lord didn't call brothers into the truth for you to come up with a million excuses. The Lord called brothers in the truth so that you can take your hands and get put to work. You understand? That's what this is here. And the anger of the Most High was kindled against Moses. The Lord was angry with Moses. And he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know he can speak well. He had a brother named Aaron. Aaron was a Levite. The Levites, if they were alive that today, because they are alive, they would be so-called Haitians. The tribe of Levi are the Haitians. And also, behold, he come forth to meet thee. He on his way to see you. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. He's going to be so happy to see you. You understand? Because this is his blood brother. This is his brother. Verse 15. And thou shalt speak unto them. This is what you're going to say to your brother. And I will put words in his mouth. Salakia. And thou shalt speak unto them. Meaning you are going to talk to your brother and put words in his mouth. Meaning you are going to put words in his mouth, meaning the things that will be in his mouth to say out of it, they're going to come from you. You understand? And I will be with thy mouth. meaning I'm going to be with your mouth and with his mouth. Why? Because he is going to say exactly what you tell him to say. And you are going to say exactly what I tell you to say. And that is a chain of command. And the sooner blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans learn that life is about order and chain of command, life will go so much smoother for our people. Right now, everybody's an individual. They do what they want, they say what they want, they wear what they want, they eat what they want, have sex with who they want, and life is absolute chaos and confusion. But the sooner our people get back in order, that's why in here in the ISUPK, we have order. We clear up all the confusion about life once you come in here because everything is done in order the way that the Lord said. So he said, you're going to tell your brother what to say. And when he repeats what you tell him, I will be with him and I will be with you. And I will be with thy mouth and with his mouth and will teach you what you shall do. I'm going to give you instructions. You are going to tell him what to do. Why? Because God put Moses in charge, and Moses is going to be accountable for what happens to the people under his charge. Verse 16, and he shall be thy spokesman unto the people. He's, as far as the people are concerned, he's going to be the one speaking to them. And he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. So instead of your mouth, he will be your mouth. Right now, what you are hearing, you're not hearing Captain Natazak Shah. You are hearing Commanding General Yohana, because the Lord told Commanding General Yohana what to say, and Commanding General Yohana told the rest of us what the Lord told him to say. And because of that, I will repeat what Commanding General Yohana was told to tell us from the Most High. And because of that, by me obeying Commanding General Yohana, the Lord will be with him for him obeying the Lord. The Lord will be with me for obeying Commanding General Yohana, who obeys the Most High, because the Lord put him in charge. And the Lord will be with you because you obey me. And I obey Commanding General Yohana, and he obeys Christ. That is how life works. That's the chain of command. That's how it works. I didn't invent it. Commander General Yohana didn't invent it. Moses didn't invent it. But this is the spirit for how the real world functions. And the sooner our people learn it, the better life will go for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So it says, and he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of power, instead of the Most High. Meaning, you are not going to speak to the Most High. God does not speak to you. You don't hear the voice of God. God is not talking to you in your heart. Whatever you feel in your brain, you're not hearing any of that. Nothing. The Lord is not talking to me. The Lord doesn't talk to General Hyman. The Lord doesn't talk to any of the generals or captains or officers or sisters below or above. You understand? The Lord talks to Commanding General Yohana. And the Lord tells Commander General Yohana what to tell all the rest of us. And we repeat it and we obey him. And because we do that, the Lord will be with us all. That is how it has always worked. And that is the chain of command that the Lord has set up since the very beginning, since the Garden of Eden. And it took generation after generation, and our people are still trying to learn this. You understand? So let's get some more. Let's go to First Corinthians. We're doing good time. Let's go to First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13. So like it. First Corinthians chapter 11 and 3. We got a little bit of time left. Says some scriptures. First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1. Salakia. This is the New Testament. It says, this is First Corinthians. This is Paul writing to the school that he set up in Corinth, another one of the cities. It says, be ye followers of me. Follow me. Follow the example that I set up. This is what Paul is saying. even as I also am of Christ. Meaning, by you following me, you do what I say because the Lord appointed me. I'm following Christ. By you following me, you will also be following Christ because the Most High set Christ in charge. You understand? Here we have again the same chain of command that gets rid of that confusion. Now, I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things. Remember everything that I taught you, and keep the ordinances, keep the laws. An ordinance is a law. Keep the laws that I taught you. Remember the things that I've taught you as I delivered them to you, meaning don't change anything. In ISUPK, we have one of our mottos is don't change anything. Don't change the order. If you set it up this way, unless somebody gives you an order to change it, don't change anything. Don't take it upon yourself to say, oh, it said 1, 2, 3. Well, I know that the answer is 4. So let me just write 1 and 4. Don't change anything. If it says 1, 2, 3, you write 1, 2, 3. If it says north, south, you write north, south. If it says this is Caesar Borgia, the second son of Pope Alexander the Sixth of Rome, you say exactly what you were taught. Don't change anything. Don't make up your own thing. Don't come up with your own philosophy. Don't listen to your own head. Follow exactly what was passed down to you. That's what you say. That's what you do. You understand? This is what Paul is saying because men started to change things. They talk about the Bible. The Bible has not changed. Men changed what they were taught. And now people think things are in the Bible that are not there. Like happy wife, happy life. That's not in the Bible. You understand? 50-50 is not in the Bible. Equality is not in the Bible. When your life is over, you'll go and live in some castle in the sky, drinking lemonades at an endless choir rehearsal, just dancing all day. That's not in the Bible. Neither is a red man with a pitchfork. That's not in the Bible. A talking rattlesnake in the book of Genesis is not in the Bible. You understand? The Game of Thrones dragons, you understand, that people think is in the book of Revelation. That's not in the Bible either. You understand? So he's saying in verse 3, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. Every man is supposed to follow Christ. How do you follow Christ? By being a follower of the man that the Lord put in charge. How do you know who the Lord put in charge? Those men clear up the confusion for you. That's why in the ISUPK, we put at the beginning and the end of all of our videos, we are the ISUPK. If you are not in the ISUPK, you are not in the truth. You are not authorized to teach the Bible. No one outside of the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana is authorized by the Most High in Christ to teach the Bible. If you're not in here, the Lord is not with you. You are not in the truth. You are a Christian. You're in the world. We make it abundantly clear so that no one is confused. The Roman Catholic Church won't tell you not to be a Presbyterian or a Methodist. Fake Israelites are not going to tell you that they're in the truth and there's other people in the truth. We're going to tell you to make it clear no one is in the truth outside of this body. Everyone else is in the world, and they're Christians. And we make it very clear because everything else that is not with the Lord is confusing. And we make life unconfusing. Very straightforward. You understand? But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man. That's where a lot of the confusion comes in, separating the woman from the authority that God intended to be over the woman, which is her man. Not 50-50, not equality. Men and women are not equal. The Lord did not make equality. That doesn't exist. That's a Disney movie fairy tale concept that is about money. It has nothing to do with God. And the head of Christ is the Most High. You understand? Everything that the Lord set up, Christ learned from the Most High. You understand? Let's get some more. Verse 6. All right. Uh, let's see. Every man praying or prophesying. He goes out on the street to speak. Only men go out on the street to speak. That's what the prophets do. Women don't go out on the street and teach, even though fake Israelites got women outside teaching them. Every man praying. You pray to the Most High, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. What is the head? Talking about the crown of your head. That is why the crowns of our head are open up top. Because if your head is covered, you dishonor the Most High. Because the head that the Lord gave power to is the man. That's why the crown of your head is uncovered. The Jewish man does not understand the Bible because he's an imposter. He covers the crown of his head because he's not the people in the Bible and he does not have the spirit of the Most High. Now it says, but every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. Many sisters refuse to come into the school because they don't want to cover their head. They don't want anything to make them diminish the power that feminism in the Christian church has taught them that they should wield, which is ungodly. I cannot tell you how many sisters, well, sis, you got to cover your head. Well, I got to cover my head. I ain't covering my head. What I need to cover my head for? You cover your head. The Lord has you to cover your head so that that spirit gets put in check. The spirit to make you think that you are more than what you are, which is a woman. You understand? And a woman is not equal to a man. And a woman does not represent God. That is why your head is covered. This is to get rid of that confusion. You understand? Which the Christian church caused. That's why every woman in this class and any other class, and anytime we're praying or anytime she's reading the Bible, that her head must be covered. Get a hat, a scarf, or something, a headscarf, anything. But your head, every little girl, every woman, every mom, every grandma, every female is to cover their head. Because for their head to be uncovered, it is a dishonor if she's praying or reading the Bible or learning, so that it trains her to be in a submissive state, which is a very foreign concept to sisters these days because of the Christian church. You understand? So it says, every woman that prayeth or prophesy with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. Who is her head? Her man. Who is their head before her man? Her father. She dishonors her father. Suppose she doesn't have a man or a father. She dishonors the priests that are over her. She dishonors the Most High. You understand? For that is all, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. It's like if her head is shaved bald. A woman is not supposed to cut off her hair. That's a spirit. If there's not some medical condition or something or some reason why your head is off, which is also a punishment that the Lord put on sisters where their hair will not grow, for how proud and arrogant that sisters were, especially the tribe of Judah, as it was prophesied in the book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and 4, the end of chapter 3, for how proud and vain and arrogant that sisters have become, even at that time and in this time now. That's why many sisters' hair falls out and it won't grow. They lose their edges in the back and all of these things here. That is a curse from the Most High. You understand? So it's not every sister, you understand? And of course, there are medical conditions and some things that cause, you understand, this is hair to fall out, different things, but that is a spirit. And you must learn to recognize spirits. You must learn that. Any woman that is willingly cutting her head low to look like a boy or have some low cut hair. We're not talking about cutting your hair short or something, some style, but she's willingly balding or shaving her hair or getting some low cut down hair to look like a fade so she look like a little boy. That is unlawful, and that is a spirit. Egypt was famous for that. Women cutting all their hair off, stuff like that. That is against the Most High. A woman is not supposed to do that. The Lord gave a woman a crown of glory growing on her head. That's what her hair is. You understand? That's spiritual. You should not do that. You understand? It's a bad thing in the Bible. All right. So it says, for if the woman be not covered, let her be shorn. You understand? If she's not going to cover her head, well, then she might as well get rid of all of her hair. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, if it's not a good thing for a woman to be bald headed, see, everything can't be accepted. And this evil society, everything is accepted. Oh, it's creative. Oh, it's unique. Oh, she just being herself. Oh, he just expressing himself. There's certain things you aren't allowed to do. You aren't allowed to express yourself. If you cutting your hair down or shaving your head bald like India Irie, I never forget that sister. She made beautiful music. And then she came out with some song talking about, I am not my hair. And then she cut all her hair off to look like a little boy. And that was the end of her career. That was it. It was over. Now, dreadlocks are not Israelite custom at all. That's not our culture. But cutting your head down, that's an African inspired thing. You understand? Women can cut their hair low if they want to, but this is the thing, and this is the important part that the Lord wants. A woman represents her man. And everything in life, just like for the men to serve Christ, there's a filter to learn what you can and cannot do. And a woman is supposed to check to see who she's representing, if this is okay with them. If a woman is married, she wants to check with her husband. You understand? A daughter, she would want to check with that father. They just come out with blue hair and purple hair and all kind of stuff. A lot of times sisters do things, not you, but what your question was, a woman can, get rid of the dead ends and stuff like that. But if a woman go with this nice, beautiful long hair, she want to shorten her hair up or something like that, or do a different style, that's one thing. But if she want to shave the side of her head, that shaved dragon look with half a shave, and then you got his curled on that side, that's a demon. A woman should not do that. You understand? She want to shave the sides of her head and shave all of this and just have some hair poofing up at the top to get that woman king African look. That's not our culture. Or cut all her head down real low and get a shape up. Shape ups are unlawful. A woman should not cut her head down when somebody got to guess, is this a boy? Is this a girl? You understand? That's not lawful. But again, for a woman, the Lord wants a woman to have her life filtered through a man, through her husband. That's how it's supposed to be. Women aren't supposed to be single all of their lives, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You understand? That's not what God set that up at all. That's confusion. That's why sisters are going missing in every city. You understand? Getting robbed, getting hustled, getting scammed, getting abused. You end up choosing your own man. Cassie found Diddy. Come to find out, Diddy pimping her out and sex trafficking her and all kind of stuff. Now she rich and famous, and this is happening too. I guarantee that father more than likely would have not wanted her to go with Diddy. No, any good father could see something wrong with that man. You understand? Exactly. No sweat, sis. But this is what the Lord wants. And this is what Paul was teaching to the schools that he set up. You understand? It says, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head. That doesn't mean you can't wear a hat. That doesn't mean you can never show your hair. But in these specific instances, this is what the Lord requires to keep things in order. It's a spiritual thing. You understand? For as much as he is the image and glory of the Most High, a man represents God. A man is the glory of the Most High with strength and power and a beard and a big afro and strong and authority, where his word matters, where he controls power and resources. You understand? He has strength. Like that's what a man is, and is to represent the Most High. You understand? But the woman is the glory of the man. A woman represents a man. A woman does not represent God. You represent your husband. You represent your father. You represent your man. You understand? or you represent the priest if you are a sister that does not have a father or you do not have a man. You understand? That is why you get in these instructions. Many of our sisters do not have their fathers, never met their fathers. Many of our sisters do not have a man, but they do have sons and daughters. So there's a lot of things that's going on where we have gaps amongst our people and our societies that the truth and the priests and prophets that God set up fills in all of these gaps and makes sure that all of the proper counseling and authority that the Lord intended to be there is not lacking just because our people are destroyed. Mind you, most of the Bible we spent in captivity. So this was always built in a part of our nation wherever we were. That's why he gave us these laws. It says, the woman is the glory of the man, for the man is not of the woman. Men don't come from women. Women don't give life. Men put life into a woman. Then the woman has to carry that life for 9 months. Then the woman has to deliver the life the man put into her. You understand? There's no equality in that. Women don't give life. Women bleed out dead eggs every month. A man puts living seed into a woman, and that egg that would otherwise be bled out becomes a person. That's the authority. And the Lord wanted to make sure that this was clear because the Greco-Roman society, the Egyptian society, the Hamites, everyone else worshiped a woman, the goddess, female, sacred vagina of all planet Earth nonsense. That's not Israelite culture. We don't worship mama. We don't worship grandma. We don't worship a woman. You can have more than one wife. There's no you my only one and everything, all of that Disney movie nonsense, soap opera talk. That's not biblical. That's not our culture. Now, if a man only wants one, only has one, only needs one, that's fine. But it is not evil, it's not ungodly if he wants another one. And this is a spirit that has driven our sisters to absolute madness, not understanding that God did not make a woman equal to a man. And that's why this needed to be addressed in the school of Corinth. You understand? Because the woman does not represent God. Right now, most of our people, when they think of God, they think of mommy, grandma, abuela, the woman with the big fan and the big hats on the front row, the usher stepping back and forth with the white gloves, with the stockings on, feet hurting in them uncomfortable church shoes, the singing on the microphone about Jesus, calling up the young boy so he can squeal about Jesus. That's what our people think about God now. None of that represents God. You understand? That represents women out of place and men who don't have the authority that God intended, because only men represent God. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman. Man was not created for woman, but the woman for the man. The only reason that you were made a woman is because God made you for a man. That is what women are for. That is why God made women. You understand? America, just like Egypt, understands what a woman is for. They use our sisters to push every agenda that they have and to make them absolutely rich and powerful. You understand? That's what Egypt did. That's what every empire does. That's why they threw the male sons in the river in ancient Egypt. And they were a superpower until the Lord cursed them and wiped their firstborn out and took their meal ticket out on foot to walk across the Red Sea, which was us. You understand? This put things in order in a proper perspective. So now, in a home, when a father is trying to correct that young son that will be standing before a judge, I'm really a good guy, judge. I'm really just trying to get it together, judge. I really just need another time. All of the excuses that a father is going to teach you to nip in the bud about 7 or 8 years old, if mommy is not there fighting him for authority. He's just young. He's just 3. He's just 2. He's just 6. He's just 8. It's just middle school. He's still young. He's just 10. He's just a teenager. He's just 19. He's just 15. The judge don't give a damn about none of that. Neither do the police. You understand? But because of Christianity And because of it not being clear, the order that the Most High set up, things are very confusion, and the boundaries and the proper place where things are supposed to be, you can overstep a boundary that God had already built in. Many fathers get chased out of the home because of a woman's mouth, because of her saying that she in charge, because she got all the government assistance in the housing in many cases, because the society has fallen apart since we listened to preachers telling us to integrate. They strategically wiped out the black businesses. So now you understand, this society, just like Egypt, was giving the wealth and the jobs to the women to make sure that they held the power, because they would need to be married to something. So they would just marry them to the empire. You'd be married to your job, and married to your job, and married to the voting, and married to the process, and married to the politics, married to the religions. Well, the Lord did not want that for a woman, because that's not the real life. That's not the way the Lord set life up. That sets you up to be exploited. You understand? And it sets you up to be like you see it on the internet now. 40, 50 years old, you had all your fun, all your, I don't need a man, I got my degree, I got my money and this and that, and now here they are old with no kids and no man, looking at spending the rest of their life alone. Every time the phone rings, they scared. Every time the door creaks, they scared. They got a house, they don't know how to fix anything. The stove, the furnace, the refrigerator, the damn washing machine, the car, the brakes, all of this money and wealth that was supposed to be poured into building up your man and making him strong, because the woman is the glory of the man, because the woman represents the man. That's why it says, let the woman learn from her husband at home. Why? So that she can look up to him and not look up to the pastor. In the ISUPK, we serve the Most High, and we empower men to be stronger, and better, more responsible brothers and fathers and husbands. You understand? We empower a man, because that's what the Spirit of the Lord is about. Nothing in society is interested in empowering a man. Once you empower and fix the men will fix the women and the children. That will fix the community. There goes your drug problem. There goes your murder, your kidnapping, your truancy from school. There goes your not doing your homework. There goes all your gangs. All of that gets fixed once you put the man in his proper order, with the power and the authority through the Spirit of the Most High. This is what the Lord wanted our people to know. They never go over this in the Christian church. It says, neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. There's an old little smash face Chinese woman for a little Chinese man. You understand? God didn't make Shamika and Kiara and Maria. You understand? God did not make them for the little Chinese man. God did not make them. There's an African woman for an African man. They got the same smell. They got that same sound. They all a part of each other. God made them for each other. There's a female lion for a male lion. There's a female tiger for a male tiger. There's a female chicken, which is a hen, for a male chicken, which is a rooster. God made that. He set that up. You understand? Like, that's the proper order. You understand that the Lord set things up. So we're gonna pick that up from here, because we over the time. All right. We're gonna pick this up, Lord willing, from here next week. There to go. We over the time there. All right. Y'all clap it up. Everybody, make sure you pay your tithes. All right. Go right to ISUPK.com. 10% of any penny of any increase the Most High gives to you. You go right through there. You make an account. You can pay your tithes right from the website. Subscribe to all your favorite videos, your channel. See what we're doing all across the nation on ISUPK.com. You understand? Make sure you're there. Like, share, subscribe all of our videos. Check out all of our series, the different things that we have going on right here on this channel. All right, is what you want to do. Passover, start making your Passover reservations and your Passover fees. That's exactly what you want to do. Cup coming, high holy days. We got the feast of the dedication to be coming up soon. Next week, about the 7th, the feast of the dedication, remembering the wars we had, fighting the Greeks to get them out of our land and our temple. The feast of the dedication. All right. So tune in right here. You're going to have the class coming up, the Hebrew language class next Friday. So make sure that you're in there learning your Hebrew. All right. And then you got the Sabbath service on there. So with that, I'll give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakathum. To the sisters, Yahweh Shamar Al Athan Bashim Yahushua. With that, class dismissed.